Daniel Brooks stood on the bridge of his ship, the Valiant. Through the large windows, he could see the stars stretching out into infinity. It was the year 2347, and humans had finally learned how to travel faster than light. This was their first journey beyond the solar system. Daniel felt excited but also nervous. What would they find out there? Katie Morrison sat at her station, watching the screens carefully. She was young but very good at her job. Suddenly her screen lit up with warnings. Her fingers moved quickly across the controls. "Sir, we have something," Katie said. Her voice stayed calm, but Daniel could hear the tension. "Ships are coming out of nowhere." They just appeared. Daniel walked closer to the main screen. He saw at least 20 alien ships forming a line in front of them. They were different shapes and sizes, nothing like human ships. His heart beat faster. This was it. First contact with aliens. Are they hostile? Daniel asked. Not yet, Katie replied. They're sending us a message. The computer is translating it now. A voice filled the bridge. It sounded flat and emotionless, like a robot. Human ship, you have entered Galactic Council space. Your species is now classified as Class 7 Deathworld species. You must stop your military expansion immediately. You cannot leave your home system with weapons. Daniel frowned. Deathworld? What does that mean? Martin Hayes, the science officer, checked his computer. Commander, I think I understand. They're talking about Earth. Our planet has very high gravity compared to most worlds. We have extreme weather, dangerous animals, and lots of diseases. They think our world is deadly. So they're scared of us? Katie asked. It seems that way, Martin said. To them, we must seem incredibly strong and dangerous just because we survived growing up on Earth. Daniel thought about this. Humans didn't feel particularly strong. They just lived their lives. But maybe to aliens from easier worlds, humans really were different. 3 weeks passed. Daniel found himself standing in a huge building on a planet called Council Prime. This was where the galactic government met. The room was enormous, with seats rising up in circles. Hundreds of different aliens sat in those seats. Some looked like insects. Others looked like floating jellyfish. Some were just balls of light. Helen Carter stood beside Daniel. She was Earth's ambassador, trained to talk with aliens. She whispered to him, They've been arguing about us for hours. Most of them have never seen a human before. They're frightened. A tall alien that looked like a giant insect called for silence. The Council has made a decision about humanity. We recognize that humans are intelligent and capable. However, we cannot ignore the facts. Your world is one of the most dangerous planets we have ever studied. Your people are much stronger than most species. You can survive things that would kill us. We must protect the galaxy. Another alien spoke. This one looked like it was floating in water inside a clear tank. Humans can live through extreme pain. You heal from injuries very quickly. Your ability to fight is beyond anything we've seen. We have to limit your expansion for everyone's safety. Helen stepped forward. She looked calm and confident. Council members, please listen. We come in peace. Yes, Earth is a hard world. Yes, we are strong. But we want to be friends. We want to learn and share knowledge. Judge us by what we do, not by where we come from. The Council talked among themselves. Finally, they announced their decision. Humans could talk to other species and trade with them, but human military ships had to stay in certain areas. If humans broke this rule, the galaxy would use force against them. Daniel felt angry but tried not to show it. They were being treated like criminals when they hadn't done anything wrong. 6 months went by. Humans followed the rules even though they didn't like them. Then something bad happened. A human civilian ship called the Horizon's Hope was attacked by space pirates. The ship was carrying medicine to a human colony. People were dying. Ryan Tucker was the captain of a military ship called the Defender. He received the emergency call. His face went hard with determination. All crew, battle stations. We're going to help them, Ryan ordered. Greg Palmer, one of his officers, looked worried. Sir, that location is outside our allowed zone. If we go there, we'll be breaking the Council's rules. Ryan's eyes were fierce. I don't care about zones when people are dying. We're soldiers. Our job is to protect people. Start the engines. The Defender jumped to faster than light speed. When they arrived at the location, they saw 3 pirate ships attacking the civilian vessel. The pirates belonged to a criminal group called the Krell Syndicate. They were known for being cruel and violent. The pirate ships were fast. They moved around the slow civilian ship, firing weapons and tearing holes in its hull. Ryan watched and made a plan quickly. Target their engines. Don't destroy them completely. We want to capture them. Nicole, get your team ready. You're going to board those ships. Nicole Price was the leader of the Marine soldiers. She smiled. Understood, sir. We'll take care of them. The battle started. The defender fired carefully, hitting the pirate ship's engines but not destroying them completely. The pirates tried to fight back, but they weren't prepared for human tactics. They had never fought anyone like this before. Nicole and her Marines put on their armor and launched into space. They flew across the empty space between ships and landed on the pirate vessels. Using special tools, they cut through the hull and went inside. The Krell pirates were tough fighters. They were bigger than humans and had natural armor on their skin. But the human Marines moved as a team. They used tactics and planning. Within 15 minutes, all 3 pirate ships were under human control. When Council security forces arrived several hours later, they found an unusual sight. Human Marines stood guard over the captured pirates. The Krell looked terrified. They had never been defeated so quickly before. News of what happened spread across the galaxy very fast. Humans had broken the rules by leaving their zone, but they had done it to save lives. They had defeated the Krell Syndicate, a pirate group that the Council's military had been trying to catch for years. The galaxy didn't know what to think. Were humans heroes or rule breakers? Were they dangerous or helpful? One thing was certain. Everyone was now paying attention to the species from the death world called Earth. The council chamber was full of noise. Aliens from every part of the galaxy were shouting and arguing. Some wanted to punish humans severely for breaking the rules. Others thought humans should be thanked for saving lives. The debate went on for hours. Christopher Lane was the highest-ranking military officer from Earth. He was an admiral, which meant he commanded many ships and many people. He stood in the center of the chamber waiting to speak. Finally, they let him talk. "Council members," Christopher said in a strong, clear voice. "Yes, our ships went into restricted space. I will not lie about that. But we will not apologize for saving lives. If your laws say we must watch innocent people die without helping them, then maybe your laws are wrong." The chamber went silent. No one had ever spoken to the council like this before. Some aliens looked angry. Others looked thoughtful. The council speaker was named Velkoth. He was a being made of pure energy trapped inside a crystal. When he spoke, light pulsed through his body. "Admiral Lane, you do not understand our worry. We are not angry that you saved lives. We are concerned about how easily your people defeated the Krell. That pirate group has been a problem for decades. Our best military forces have tried to stop them many times and failed. But you destroyed them in minutes." Christopher crossed his arms. "Then perhaps you should ask us for help instead of treating us like criminals." Before anyone could respond, alarms started ringing throughout the building. Emergency lights flashed red. Council guards rushed into the chamber. One of them approached the speaker quickly. "Sir, we have a situation. A massive military fleet has been detected at the edge of our space. It's the Zarkon Empire. They're invading." Fear spread through the chamber. The Zarkon were legendary. They were warriors who had stayed isolated from the rest of the galaxy for hundreds of years. Everyone had hoped they would stay isolated forever. Lisa Morgan was the captain of a science ship called the Discovery. She had been studying a star system near the border when her sensors picked up something massive. At first, she thought it was an error. No fleet could be that large. "Kevin, get us out of here right now," Lisa shouted to her pilot. Kevin Ross pushed the ship's engines to maximum power. The Discovery jumped into faster-than-light travel just as the Zarkon fleet arrived. Lisa watched her screens as hundreds of enemy warships appeared where her ship had been moments before. The Discovery was lucky. Many other ships weren't. The Zarkon moved through Council space like a storm. They attacked planets and space stations. Their weapons were powerful, and their warriors were bred specifically for combat. The Council's military tried to fight back, but they were losing badly. Back on Earth, President Laura Bennett sat in her office watching the news. Reports were coming in from across the galaxy. The Zarkon were winning everywhere. She called an emergency meeting with all of Earth's military leaders. "The Council treated us badly," Laura said. "They restricted us and feared us. Now they're being destroyed. Some people think we should just stay here and let them deal with their own problems. What do you think?" Admiral Christopher stood up. "Madam President, I understand why some people feel that way. But we can't just watch. If the Zarkon win, they'll eventually come for Earth too. Besides, there are billions of innocent people out there who never did anything wrong to us. We have to help them. Laura looked at each person in the room. She saw that most of them agreed with Christopher. She nodded slowly. All right, prepare the fleet. But I want everyone to understand something. We're not doing this because the council asked us. We're not doing it for their approval. We're doing it because it's right. The order went out across Earth and all human colonies. Every available military ship was called to duty. Soldiers who were on leave came back. Engineers worked day and night to prepare the vessels. Everyone knew this would be the biggest fight humanity had ever faced. Daniel Brooks stood on the bridge of his new ship. After the pirate incident, he had been promoted. Now he commanded not just one ship, but an entire group of ships. They called him Fleet Commander now. His fleet gathered at a location called Rally Point Alpha. It was just outside the area where humans were supposed to stay. 50 warships waited there, including a massive new vessel called the Titan. It was the biggest and most powerful ship humanity had ever built. Daniel sent a message to all the ships. This is Fleet Commander Brooks. In a few hours, we're going into battle. The Zarkon are strong and experienced. They've been winning every fight. But they've never fought humans before. We're going to show them what people from Earth can do. We fight not for glory. We fight to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Are you ready? From 50 ships, the response came back as one voice. Yes, sir. Patricia Cole was the chief engineer on the Titan. She checked every system 3 times. Commander, all ships report ready. Shields are at full power. Weapons are loaded. We can leave when you give the order. Nathan Wells was in charge of intelligence. He had been studying the Zarkon carefully. Sir, according to our information, the Zarkon are heading toward Council Prime. That's the capital planet. If they capture it, the entire government will collapse. We need to stop them before they get there. Daniel looked at the star map. Council Prime was far away. They would have to travel at maximum speed to get there in time. How long until the Zarkon reach the capital? 30 hours, sir, Nathan replied. And how long will it take us to get there? 28 hours if we push the engines hard. Daniel smiled. Then we'll get there first. All ships engage maximum speed. We're going to Council Prime. The human fleet jumped into faster than light travel. Behind them, Earth watched through long-range sensors. Everyone on the planet knew what was happening. Children asked their parents if the fleet would win. Parents didn't know what to say. In the council chamber, the representatives had stopped arguing. They watched the same sensors. They saw the human fleet racing toward their capital. Some felt hope for the first time in weeks. Others still felt fear. Were the humans coming to save them or to conquer them? Ambassador Helen Carter stood before the council speaker. The fleet from Earth is coming to help you. They're not your enemies. They never were. Please have faith in them. Velkoth's crystal form pulsed with uncertain light. We hope you are right, Ambassador. For all our sakes, we hope you are right. Stood on the bridge of the Titan, looking at the beautiful planet below. It had blue oceans and green continents much like Earth. Billions of people lived down there. They were all depending on the humans to save them. The Zarkon will be here soon, Katie Morrison said. She was now commanding her own ship, a carrier called the Liberty. A carrier was a ship that held many smaller fighter craft. The human fleet arrived at Council Prime just 2 hours before the Zarkon. Daniel, we have a plan, sir. Daniel looked at the tactical display. The Zarkon fleet was massive. They had almost 150 warships. The humans only had 50. Yes, we position ourselves between them and the planet. When they arrive, we hit them with everything we have. We can't let them get past us. The 50 human ships formed a defensive line. They spread out to cover as much space as possible. Every weapon was ready. Every shield was at full power. The crews waited. Then the Zarkon arrived. Their ships came out of faster than light travel in perfect formation. They were dark and angular, designed to look frightening. And there were so many of them. For a moment, even the experienced human crews felt fear. But Daniel's voice cut through that fear. All ships, this is Brooks. Remember why we're here. Those people on the planet below never hurt us. They're just trying to live their lives. The Zarkon want to destroy them. We're not going to let that happen. Attack pattern Delta, execute now. The human fleet charged forward. The Zarkon seemed surprised. Most species would have run away when facing such bad odds. But humans didn't run. They attacked. Katie launched all her fighters. Dozens of small, fast ships poured out of the Liberty. Dragon Wing, Griffin Wing, you're clear to attack. Show them what Earth pilots can do. The space between the two fleets lit up with weapons fire. Energy beams and missiles filled the darkness. Human ships moved aggressively, diving and weaving through the enemy formation. The Zarkon tried to surround them, but the humans were too fast. Ryan Tucker pushed his ship, the Defender, into a steep dive toward a Zarkon cruiser. Their shields are strong against energy weapons. Switch to kinetic rounds. Use the railguns. Kinetic rounds were solid chunks of metal fired at incredible speed. They didn't use energy. They just relied on pure momentum. When the human ships fired these weapons, they punched right through the Zarkon shields. It's working, Ryan called out on the fleet channel. All ships focus on kinetic weapons. Their defenses can't stop them. The battle raged for hours. Human ships took damage but kept fighting. This shocked the Zarkon. Most species would abandon a damaged ship, but humans would keep fighting even when their ship was falling apart around them. The Titan took a direct hit to its engines. The massive ship started drifting, unable to maneuver properly. Michelle Davis was the captain. She looked at the damage reports and made a quick decision. If we can't move, we'll use the ship differently. Prepare all Marine units. We're going on the offensive. Stephen Grant was a colonel who led the Marines. He gathered his troops in the launch bay. All right, listen up. We're going to board enemy ships. Yes, I know that sounds crazy, but crazy is what we do best. Put on your armor and follow me. The Marines launched into space. They wore powered armor that let them survive in the vacuum. Using small rockets, they flew toward the nearest Zarkon capital ship. When they reached it, they used cutting tools to slice through the hull. Inside the Zarkon ship, the Marines moved quickly. The Zarkon warriors were big and strong. They stood about 8 feet tall and had natural armor covering their bodies. But they fought in predictable ways. They followed rigid patterns. Humans didn't fight like that. Nicole Price led her squad through the dark corridors. Use grenades at the corners, suppressing fire on anything that moves. Keep advancing. The Zarkon had never experienced fighting like this. In their culture, boarding enemy ships was considered impossible. But the humans made it look easy. Within 20 minutes, Nicole's team had captured the bridge of the ship. Target secured, she reported. We control this ship now. The same thing happened on 6 other Zarkon capital ships. Human Marines boarded them and took control. Then they turned those ships' weapons against the rest of the Zarkon fleet. The enemy couldn't understand what was happening. How were their own ships attacking them? The battle continued for 6 brutal hours. Both sides lost many ships. 12 human vessels were destroyed. Their crews died as heroes. But the Zarkon lost 40 ships and 7 more were captured. Daniel watched the battle displays carefully. He was looking for a weakness in the enemy formation. Then he saw it. The Zarkon command ship was starting to pull back. Their leader is retreating, Greg Palmer said. If we destroy that ship, the whole fleet might fall apart. Patricia Cole warned him. Commander, that ship is heavily defended. We would have to concentrate all our firepower on it. That means leaving our flanks exposed. It's very risky. Daniel didn't hesitate. We take the risk. All ships form up on the Titan. We're going after their command ship. This ends now. The remaining human ships came together. Even the damaged ones limped into formation. They formed a spearhead shape with the crippled Titan at the front. Then they charged straight at the heart of the enemy fleet. The Zarkon tried to stop them. They fired everything they had. Human ships exploded. More crews died. But the formation kept moving forward. Nothing could stop them. The Zarkon commander tried to escape. His ship turned to jump into faster-than-light travel. But Ryan Tucker had predicted this move. The Defender intercepted the command ship. Ryan did something incredibly brave and foolish. He used his own damaged ship as a battering ram. The Defender crashed into the Zarkon command ship, destroying its engines. Both ships were badly damaged, but the enemy couldn't escape now. All ships fire, Daniel ordered. Every human ship that could still fight fired at the Zarkon command vessel. The combined firepower was overwhelming. The enemy ship's shields collapsed. Then its hull broke apart. Finally, it exploded in a massive fireball. When the command ship died, something amazing happened. The rest of the Zarkon fleet lost all coordination. Ships started fleeing in different directions. Within minutes, they were all jumping to faster-than-light speed, running away. The battle was over. Council Prime was saved. The human fleet had won against an enemy that outnumbered them 3-1. But the victory came at a terrible cost. 12 ships destroyed, thousands of brave people dead. On the planet below, billions of people looked up at the sky. They had been saved by the species everyone feared. The dangerous Deathworlders had protected them. News of the battle spread across the galaxy within hours. Humanity had done the impossible. 3 days after the battle, Daniel stood in the Grand Assembly Hall again. But this time was very different. The hall was packed with delegates from every corner of the galaxy. They all wanted to see what would happen next. Admiral Christopher Lane stood beside him. President Laura Bennett had traveled from Earth just for this moment. The 3 humans walked to the center of the chamber. All eyes were on them. Council Speaker Velkoth stepped forward. His crystal form was glowing brightly. "Humanity, we owe you more than words can express. You saved our civilization when our own fleets could not. We were wrong to fear you. We were wrong to restrict you. The rules we placed on you were born from misunderstanding and prejudice." The chamber filled with the sounds of agreement. Hundreds of different species showed their approval in their own ways. Some clapped. Some made clicking sounds. Others just glowed in different colors. Ambassador Helen Carter stepped forward to speak for Earth. "We accept your apology, Council Speaker. Humanity never wanted special treatment. We only wanted to be treated fairly like any other species. We want the same rights and the same responsibilities." A vote was held right there. It was unanimous. Every single delegate voted yes. All restrictions on human expansion were removed immediately. Humanity was granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all the rights that came with it. But not everyone was happy. In the weeks after the battle, the political situation in the galaxy changed dramatically. Several powerful civilizations refused to accept the new status of humanity. They were led by a species called the Vrex Dominion. The Vrex were reptilian beings who valued strength and order above everything else. These species formed a new group called the Independent Systems Coalition. They announced they would not follow the Council's decision about humans. They saw humanity as a threat that needed to be contained. Lisa Morgan attended a diplomatic meeting on a neutral space station. The Vrex ambassador was there. His name was Krellnax. He was tall and covered in dark green scales. His eyes were cold and calculating. "Captain Morgan," Krellnax said, "you humans do not understand what you represent to us. Your people can survive in places that would kill most of us within hours. You can endure pain that would drive us insane. Your ability to fight is terrifying. What happens when you decide the galaxy should belong to you?" Lisa met his eyes without fear. "Our values stop us. We fight to protect, not to conquer. We risked everything to save people who had treated us as outcasts. Actions speak louder than words. Judge us by what we do." Krellnax's scales darkened. Among his people, this showed worry or fear. Every empire in history has said they wanted peace. Then they began conquering. "Why should you be different?" "Because we choose to be," Lisa replied simply. The meeting ended badly. The coalition began building up their military forces along their borders with human space. They were preparing for a war they believed would eventually come. Meanwhile, many other species rushed to establish trade agreements and diplomatic relations with Earth. They saw opportunity instead of threat. 6 months of tense peace followed. Human ships explored new areas of space. Human traders brought goods to alien markets. Human scientists worked with alien researchers. Slowly, most of the galaxy was accepting humanity. Then everything changed again. Long-range sensors detected something terrifying. The Zarkon were coming back. But this time, their fleet was much, much larger. Intelligence reports suggested they had over 500 capital ships. It was an armada designed to destroy the entire galaxy. Admiral Christopher called an emergency meeting with Council military leaders. Representatives from dozens of species gathered in a secure facility. The mood was grim. The Zarkon learned from their defeat, Christopher explained. They've been preparing for months. This fleet is 10 times larger than before. Even with human tactics, we're badly outnumbered. We need everyone to work together. Jexler was the Council's defense coordinator. He had 4 arms and a brilliant military mind. He pulled up projections on a holographic display. Our combined forces number about 300 ships. That's still not enough. If the Independent Systems Coalition joined us, we might have a chance. Without them, we will lose. President Laura Bennett decided to make the call herself. She contacted the coalition leadership directly. The conversation was broadcast so everyone could hear. "Hi, Marshal Quindar. This is President Bennett of Earth. I know your people don't trust us. I know you see us as a threat. But the Zarkon threaten all of us. They don't care about our differences. They will destroy everyone. Please stand with us now. Let us prove that humanity can be trusted as an ally." There was a long silence. Quindar was the supreme military leader of the Vrex Dominion. His decision would determine if the coalition joined the fight or stayed neutral. Finally, his voice came through. "President Bennett, understand this clearly. We are not fighting for you. We are not fighting because we suddenly trust you. We are fighting because the Zarkon will come for us too if you fall. We will commit our fleets to this battle, but after it's over, we will watch you very carefully." Laura nodded, even though he couldn't see her. "That's all we ask. Fight beside us today. Watch us tomorrow. We'll show you who we really are." Orders went out across the galaxy. Ships from a dozen different civilizations began gathering at a strategic location. They chose a place near the Kepler Nebula. It was a choke point that the Zarkon would have to pass through. If they could hold that position, they might stop the invasion. Over 800 ships assembled. Human vessels formed the center battle group. Council forces took the left flank. The coalition fleet positioned itself on the right, maintaining some distance from the others. Daniel stood on the bridge of the repaired Titan. He looked at the formation. So many different species, so many old enemies now fighting together. It was beautiful and sad at the same time. Beautiful because they had united. Sad because it took such a terrible threat to make it happen. He opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, this is Fleet Commander Brooks. Look around you. Species that were enemies yesterday are allies today. Some of you still fear each other. Some of you still distrust each other. But right now, none of that matters. The Zarkon want to extinguish civilization itself. They want to bring darkness to the galaxy. We're not going to let that happen. Today we fight not as separate species, but as one united force. Are you with me?" From 800 ships representing dozens of species, the answer came back. Some in human language, some in alien tongues. But the meaning was clear. Yes. The sensors detected the Zarkon fleet approaching. This time there was no surprise. Both sides knew exactly what was coming. This would be the largest space battle in the history of the galaxy. Everything depended on what happened next. The Kepler Nebula was beautiful. Clouds of colored gas glowed with the light of young stars. It looked peaceful and calm, but in a few minutes it would become the site of the biggest battle the galaxy had ever seen. Daniel looked at the formation one last time. Human ships in the center, Council forces on the left, the coalition on the right. 800 ships ready to fight. 800 ships that might not be enough. "All ships stand ready," Daniel said. "Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone who can't fight. Stay strong." High Marshal Quindar's voice came through from the coalition flagship. "Human Commander, my people still fear yours. We still don't fully trust you. But today we stand as allies. Let us show the Zarkon what unity can achieve." "Agreed," Daniel replied. "Whatever happens today, we face it together." The Zarkon fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel. The Allied forces had known they were coming, but seeing them was still shocking. There were so many ships. They came in waves, filling space like a dark cloud. 500 capital ships, thousands of smaller vessels. It was an armada built to conquer the entire galaxy. A message came from the Zarkon commander. It was broadcast to all the Allied ships. "This galaxy will belong to the Zarkon Empire. You have one chance. Surrender now and you may live as our servants. Refuse and you will all die." Daniel didn't hesitate. His response was simple and clear. "Come and take it." The battle began. Both fleets opened fire at the same moment. Space lit up with thousands of weapons firing. Energy beams, missiles, and kinetic rounds filled the darkness. Ships on both sides started taking damage immediately. The Allied defensive position helped them concentrate their fire, but the Zarkon had numbers on their side. They kept pushing forward, accepting losses to get closer. Ryan Tucker coordinated the fighter wings. Human, Council, and Coalition fighters flew together in mixed squadrons. Alpha Group hit their left side. Beta Group protect the damaged ships falling back. Everyone worked together. Katie Morrison's carrier, the Liberty, launched wave after wave of fighters. Her crew worked without stopping, rearming and refueling the small craft as fast as possible. "We're running low on supplies," she reported. "We need resupply soon." "Supply convoy is coming," Daniel assured her. "Hold your position." The battle went on for hours. Ships exploded, crews died, but the line held. What amazed everyone was how the different species learned from each other. Vrex destroyers started using human boarding tactics. Council cruisers adopted aggressive human maneuvers. The galaxy's defenders were becoming stronger by fighting together. Hour after hour, the fighting continued. Both sides were exhausted. The Allied forces had lost over 100 ships, but the Zarkon had lost even more. Then, in the 14th hour, something terrible happened. The Zarkon deployed their reserve force. 100 fresh capital ships appeared from behind a nearby moon. They had been hiding there, waiting for the perfect moment. Now they struck at the weakest point in the Allied line. They're breaking through on the right flank, Greg Palmer warned. The coalition forces are falling back. They can't hold. Daniel made his decision instantly. All human vessels form up on the Titan. We're going to plug that gap. Patricia Cole looked at him with concern. Sir, if we move there, we'll be surrounded. There's no way out. I know, Daniel said quietly. But if we don't stop them, they'll destroy the coalition fleet. Then they'll destroy everyone else. Sometimes there's no other choice. Human fleet, follow me. The human ships moved as one. They positioned themselves between the Zarkon breakthrough force and the retreating coalition vessels. Then they formed a tight defensive sphere, their shields overlapping to create a fortress in space. The Zarkon surrounded them immediately. They poured fire into the human formation from all sides. Human ships started taking heavy damage. Hull breaches, engine failures, shield collapses, but they held their position. They didn't retreat. Michelle Davis's ship lost all its atmosphere. Her entire crew had to put on emergency suits, but they kept fighting. Kevin Ross piloted his badly damaged ship using only small maneuvering rockets. The main engines were gone, but he still provided sensor data to help other ships aim their weapons. On the coalition flagship, High Marshal Quindar watched in disbelief. They're sacrificing themselves. For us. Why would they do that? A young Vrex officer named Pelthar stood beside him. Because that's what humans do, sir. They protect those who cannot protect themselves, even those who feared them, even those who treated them as enemies. Quindar's scales shifted through several colors. Among his people, this showed deep emotion. He made a decision that would change galactic history. All coalition forces reform the line. We will not abandon them. All ships charged forward. The coalition fleet turned around. They had been retreating. Now they attacked. They slammed into the Zarkon forces from behind, catching them by surprise. At the same time, Council forces hit the enemy from the flanks. What had been a human last stand became a unified assault. The Zarkon were caught between 3 different forces. Their neat formations fell apart. Their discipline broke. Ships started fleeing instead of fighting. The Supreme Zarkon commander's ship took concentrated fire from all 3 fleets. Its shields failed. Its hull cracked open. Then it exploded in a massive ball of fire. When the command ship died, the entire Zarkon invasion collapsed. Ships began jumping to faster than light speed in all directions. They were running away. The battle was over. Daniel looked at the tactical display. They had won. But the cost was terrible. So many ships destroyed, so many brave people dead, from all the different species. They had paid a heavy price for victory. Quindar opened a channel directly to the Titan. Commander Brooks, my people have feared humans since we first learned of you. Today you showed us what we should have seen from the beginning. True strength is not just the ability to fight. It's the courage to sacrifice for others. We were wrong about you. I hope you can forgive us. Daniel smiled tiredly. There's nothing to forgive, Marshal. We all did what we had to do. Today we proved that together we can overcome anything. The surviving ships began helping each other. Human engineers worked on coalition vessels. Frex medics treated human wounded. Council rescue teams searched for survivors from all species. The battle had ended, but something new had begun. Real unity. 1 year had passed since the Battle of Kepler Nebula. The Grand Assembly Hall was filled again, but this time the mood was completely different. There was no fear, no suspicion. Instead, there was celebration. Representatives from every major civilization gathered for a historic ceremony. They were here to sign the Kepler Accords, a treaty that would bind the galaxy together. It promised mutual defense, cooperation, and peace among all species. Daniel stood near the front of the chamber. He wore his dress uniform with all his medals. Next to him were the other heroes of the battle. Ryan Tucker, who had sacrificed his ship. Katie Morrison, whose fighters had turned the tide. Nicole Price, whose Marines had boarded enemy vessels. So many brave people. High Marshal Quindar approached Daniel. The Vrex leader's scales were bright green now, showing happiness and respect. Commander Brooks, I requested the honor of presenting you with this medal personally. 1 year ago, my people saw you as the enemy. We thought you were dangerous predators from a death world. We were fools. He held up a medal that combined symbols from dozens of different species. You taught us that coming from a harsh world doesn't make someone dangerous. It can make them strong. But more importantly, you showed us that strength without honor is worthless. Power without compassion is evil. You had the strength to conquer us. Instead, you chose to protect us. Daniel accepted the medal with humility. Marshal, we only did what was right. Any decent people would have done the same. Quindar's scales shifted to a deeper green. That's exactly what makes you special, Commander. You think this is normal behavior, but it's not. It's exceptional. Please, never lose that. President Laura Bennett stepped forward to address the assembly. She had been re-elected by a large majority. The people of Earth trusted her to guide them through this new era. Members of the Galactic Council, friends from across the stars, Laura began. 1 year ago, humanity was feared. You saw us as dangerous because we came from a hard world. You thought we would use our strength to dominate others. I understand why you felt that way. Fear of the unknown is natural. She paused and looked around the chamber. But now you know us. You've fought beside us. You've seen how we choose to use our strength. Humanity doesn't seek to rule the galaxy. We never did. We only want to stand beside you as equals and friends. The universe is vast. It holds wonders and dangers we haven't even imagined yet. Together, working as one, there's nothing we cannot overcome. The chamber erupted in approval. Hundreds of different species showed their agreement in their own ways. The sound was like music, all those different voices joining together. The treaty was signed by every delegation. From that day forward, the galaxy would face threats together. No more fear, no more division, just cooperation and mutual respect. Back on Earth, in a small memorial garden, a special monument had been built. It honored all those who died in the Battle of Kepler Nebula, humans, Vrex, Council species, and others. They all died together defending civilization. An inscription was carved into the stone. It read, "We came from a harsh world, but we learned that survival means more than enduring hardship. It means protecting those around us, standing for what's right, and proving that the strongest force in the universe isn't fear or power, it's unity." Helen Carter, Earth's ambassador, often brought groups of young people to visit this memorial. Today she had a special group with her. They were cadets from the new Galactic Defense Academy. This school trained military officers from all species together. The cadets were mixed. Humans stood next to Vrex. Council species trained with coalition members. They learned together. They lived together. They would protect the galaxy together. Look at this memorial carefully, Helen told them. Remember what it teaches. Being from a death world doesn't make us superior to anyone. It simply means we can endure hardship. That's not a reason to feel proud. It's a responsibility. We have the strength to endure, so we must use it to shield others. We have the capacity for violence, so we must become guardians of peace. A young human cadet raised his hand. Ambassador, what if people start to fear us again? Helen smiled. Then we prove them wrong through our actions. Every single day, the galaxy once feared humanity. Now they trust us. That trust is precious. You must honor it in everything you do. Be strong but be kind. Be capable fighters but choose peace whenever possible. That's what it means to be human. The cadets saluted. This gesture had spread across the galaxy. Now all species used it as a sign of respect and unity. The different young people stood together, their various forms and features united in purpose. In orbit above Earth, the rebuilt Titan led a patrol with Council and Coalition vessels. On the bridge, Daniel looked out at the stars. He thought about how much had changed in just 2 years. Katie stood at her station, now his first officer. Sir, we're receiving reports from the outer sectors. All quiet, all peaceful. Good, Daniel replied. But stay alert. The galaxy is huge. There will always be new challenges. We just have to face them together. A message came in from a Vrex patrol ship. Human vessel Titan, this is Coalition Ship Defender. We're detecting some unusual readings in Sector 7. Could you investigate with us? Daniel smiled. They had named their ship Defender after the human vessel that Ryan Tucker had sacrificed. It was a gesture of respect and friendship. Coalition Ship Defender, we're on our way. Let's check it out together. The two ships moved through space side by side. Human and Vrex, once they had been on the edge of war. Now they were partners. The galaxy had changed so much. Martin Hayes, still serving as science officer, studied his screens. Commander, whatever this is, it's not hostile. Just some unusual radiation from an old star. Good, Daniel said. Report it to the Science Council. Maybe they can learn something from it. That was how things worked now. When something unusual was found, all species studied it together. When a threat appeared, all species faced it together. The age of fear and division had ended. A new age had begun. The greatest strength of humanity had never been their ability to survive harsh conditions. It had never been their ability to win battles. Their greatest strength was their unwavering commitment to protect those who needed protection, to stand up for what was right, even when it was hard, to choose compassion over conquest. The Deathworlders from Earth had become the galaxy's most trusted defenders, not through force or intimidation, but through sacrifice and honor. They had proven that where you come from doesn't determine who you are. Your choices do that. As Daniel looked out at the stars, he thought about the future. There would be more challenges, more dangers, but the galaxy would face them together. United, strong, peaceful. The journey had just begun. And it would be extraordinary.